welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. And this is Thursday, or at least it's Thursday as you're hearing it, or as it's released, or whatever. It's Thursday's show officially. Number 325. Wow, 25 episodes since 300 already. Wow. Yeah, I know. You're impressed, aren't you? You should be impressed. No, this is Student of the Gun Radio. I am your host, Professor Paul Markle, and Jared is on the outside of the glass case of emotion. And where is the glass case of emotion, you might ask? Well, we're coming to you from the Silencer Shop Studios. That is the home of the glass case of emotion.
Silencershop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Absolutely. Now, don't forget, we've been teasing you with it this week, and it's going to happen next week. We're going to have somebody from Silencer Shop come on, silencershop.com. They're going to come on. They're going to talk with us about how to buy silencers, suppressors. And Jared mentioned, was it yesterday or the day before, either one, about if you have questions to go to you want them to do the Facebook thing or you want them to do emails?
What do you mean?
For questions for our Silencer Shop guest.
Oh, Facebook, email, just send it to us somehow.
Yeah, Jared's going to compile some questions.
Yeah, preferably email info@studentofthegun.com.
Now, all you hip cats, especially you grad program members that pay close attention to what's going on, often when we're recording the radio show, Jared will put something out like, hey, we've got this guy on the phone right now. If you want to ask him a question, do it, that kind of stuff. So pay attention. That may or may not happen, which you always want to be paying attention anyway. Now, today we've been promising you that we were going to have a special guest on this week. And we've got him hanging out on the line right now. He's waiting ever so patiently from his home in the Republic of Texas. And thanks to the magic and miracle of technology, he's going to be able to join us and join you all out there in the Student of the Gun listening audience. Now, folks, before we jump into that, because we're going to talk about the movie 13 Hours and the story behind the movie. We have a nasty habit as Americans. When movies come out, we talk about the movie itself as if it's a standalone, as if it's some type of a Hollywood production. And we often forget, especially in a case like this that is based on reality, something that actually happened. And sadly, in our nation, I was talking to Zachary, who's my son, who's 18 years old, but it's been 3.5 years now, or at least three plus years since the September 11th, 2012 attacks in Libya. And he went to see the movie with us, and he said, I knew that Benghazi was a bad thing, but I didn't know specifically why it was a bad
to what
thing
extent
or
either.
What went on. I just knew it was not good. And you got to wonder how many people out there in the world have they hear it and they tune it out and they're like, "Oh, that's a movie or something," but it really doesn't affect me today. It does affect you today, and we're going to talk about that at great length with somebody who knows what went down. Somebody who actually had worked with two of the individuals who lost their lives that day. Now, and once we start this, it's going to be a hard, fast roller coaster ride.
I've got an intro song for our friend that is on the line. If you would like me to play that, I can do that.
And
yes.
I want to see if we obviously would like you to play an intro song.
I want to see if you get where it's from.
Oh, okay. But before that, let's thank our friends at Duracoat. Duracoat, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. Check them out at lauerweaponry.com, or you can buy Duracoat products from brownells.com. You can buy lots of stuff from Brownells, frog lube and gun parts and food and anything you want to stick onto, bolt onto a gun, clean a gun with, paint a gun with, whatever, you can get at brownells.com. Frog lube, it just works. And like we said, we've been using the Frog Lube Extreme. Although it's not super extreme down here. As a matter of fact, it's so not extreme in Biloxi right now that I'm actually running the little tiny fan in my studio in the glass case of emotion because it's so warm. I know, it's crazy. But also, I'm sorry, in addition to Velocity Triggers, velocitytriggers.com. You got a black rifle, they have a trigger for you. Check them out. SWAT Fuel Now, it is still February as you're hearing this, or at least as we're releasing it. Go to SWAT Fuel Store, SWATfuelstore.com. Super easy, ridiculously easy. Go there and use the promo code PREPARED. They're also running – one of you hip cats out there in the audience took a picture – you're out of the store and took a picture of the inside of a Recoil magazine. SWAT Fuel's been running some ads, some print ads, and one of the print ads they ran in a Recoil magazine. And you're making the face like I shouldn't have said that or something.
Oh, no. You could say that.
Oh, yeah.
I was just making the face for other reasons.
Yeah, so they ran a print ad in Recoil magazine where they're doing the prepared promo this month in February, and they used a picture of yours truly. And one of you cats out there took a picture of it and sent it to us on Facebook. So thank you, cats. And lastly, but not leastly, at least right now, Century Arms, the sponsors of not only Studio the Gun Radio, but the mobile app as well. And if you have not been to centuryarms.com lately, you owe it to yourself to go over there and see what they've got cooking. All right, with that, and without any further ado, I will allow you to play our intro song, and then we will introduce, I will introduce our guest. I know where that's from. Are you kidding? Do you think I would not know what that music is from? And I know he knows what music that is. You smart ass.
Yeah.
All right. The gentleman.
I opened my button app, and that was like the first button that popped up. So I was like, hey.
All right. The gentleman who's joining me on the phone live via satellite is a U.S. Army Special Forces Team Sergeant retired, a military contractor extraordinaire, a senior firearms instructor with CSAT MTT. He was also a police officer in the glorious Republic of Texas. And he started out his military career way back in the olden days with the United States Marine Corps. And then he put on his big boy boots and he moved over and decided to put on a green beanie. But we won't hold that against him. All right, my friend, can you identify that song?
Wow. Yeah. You know, that's a kick in the pants there. That's been a while. Yeah, the theme from SWAT, man. Hondo, the original one, but back when he used to be a white guy. So
what?
Can I say that on
what?
Can I say that on radio?
you know, Shane, that was the theme from the A-Team.
Yeah. Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, wrong one.
So you didn't.
I'm sorry.
All right, my friend Shane Iverson, who was an A-Team sergeant.
Negative. No cutting.
My bad. You know me. They had a red balloon. Paul, you know me, dude. Red balloons go by, and I get distracted. It doesn't take a whole hell of a lot. I knew it was the A-Team, and then I got to thinking, I was like, SWAT, Hondo, wait a minute.
That's great. I completely understand. We see squirrels.
You've been drinking for me, and I haven't even been drinking yet. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Come on. Oh, excuse me. I wasn't supposed to say bad words on this one. So.
Okay, write down the time, Jared, so you can beep that out. There you go. All right. Jeez. And those of you who are dedicated students of the gun who've been with us a while know that we had Shane on the radio. It was about 6 months ago, I guess it was. Wasn't it, Jared?
Yeah. Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was probably about 6 months ago. Because we talked. It was right after the Katrina anniversary.
Oh, so that was what, September? Yeah,
September. That was August.
Yeah, I think I was still in the cast or some facsimile thereof for my hand surgery
of 2015. It was that actually was the weekend of it always the bad hurricanes always hit on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
But it was the Labor Day weekend of 2015 or 2005. So we just had the 10th anniversary. And for you hippies out there that haven't put it together yet, Shane and I met while working with the evil Blackwater Corporation. With the evil.
Good days.
Back in 2005. And we met in the Windy City. No, not the Windy City. It was... I referenced the Big Easy the other day, And and my sister, bless her heart, she lives in Arizona. She's like, "What is the Big Easy?" I'm like, "New Orleans. You never heard that?" No. Yankees. What are you going to do?
Always, baby, the Big Easy. Home with gumbo and I don't know, etouffee. What else they eat down there? You got some Dixie beer.
You can get shot walking down the street. I know that. But anyway, so any Hoosier. So just to bring you hippies up to speed, Shane and I have been friends for 10 plus years now, and we have a similar background. Shane, when did you join the Marine Corps? Was it 86 or 87?
80, late 85.
85?
86, right around there, yeah. So.
And you did 4 years that got out and transferred over to the Army. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were actually in the Corps at the same time, but we didn't know each other. Imagine that.
Yeah, I think you were an East Coast guy, weren't you?
Yeah, you remember that? Remember the days when the early days in the military when you'd come home on leave and people were like, "Oh, you're in the Marine Corps? My cousin Jim's in the Marine Corps. Do you know him?" "Oh yeah, I saw him at the PX yesterday." "Oh, Jim, that guy, yeah."
Yeah.
There's only like 12 of us, we all know each other. I would get that all the time, like, "Oh, my nephew's in the Marine Corps. Do you know him?" Yeah. Saw him just yesterday. But Shane went to the Special Forces, and then we had this little thing called 9/11 2001, and things got real hot and heavy. And you've been essentially nonstop busy for the last 15 years or so. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, pretty much. No, that's pretty correct. I've either been deploying, Afghanistan or Iraq as a Special Forces soldier, or contracting in those same places and a couple other places constantly since 9/11. In between there, I got off active duty. Got into Special Forces. Then I was a Dallas cop for a long time, and then the war started, and then got back on active duty and realized, you know what, I need to go home and get back with the people that understand me, So no regrets of leaving Dallas PD after 11 years, halfway through my career. But I went where I thought I was needed most.
And, now that it's funny that the Marine Corps thing I just said, people are like, "Oh, do you know such and such?" And we're like, no. The opposite is actually true in the military contractor world. What's ironic and strange is that since you and I have met, we've discovered that we have a lot of mutual friends and acquaintances. Because people, we get together and we start talking about this or that, and you're like, "Oh, this guy was there," and I was like, "Hell, I used to work with that guy," and you're like, "Oh, I knew that guy." So the contractor world is a lot smaller, and it's. We have a good friend who's on the same quote contract, but he's on his third or fourth polo shirt now. You know what I mean? You keep doing the same job, but you're doing it under a different banner.
You just switch hats.
Right, exactly. He's got a new hat and a new polo shirt. I asked him yesterday. I was on the phone. I said, "So did you get your new shirts yet?" He's like, "Yeah, we got our new polo shirts." He goes, "They actually embroidered our names on them." I was like, "Wow, I'm like, wow, is that like job assurance?"
They're winning signing bonus.
Yeah. I think I told you about when the one contracting company I was working with, they bought us 511 shirts. If you know about 511 shirts, they have those really cool hidden interior pockets that everybody likes to stash stuff in. And to be neat, cool, and professional, they decided they all needed to have the same logo on them. So they sent them away to be embroidered. And the embroidery chick sewed all the left pockets shut.
That was nice of her.
She embroidered right over these super cool ninja pockets in the 511 shirts. Yeah. So. But we're not here to talk about clothing. We're not here to talk about uniforms. We're here to talk about contracting. And something that I want to clear up real quick for our audience and make sure that everybody understands. Unfortunately, because we have a left-wing, subservient, psychopathic media, many people in the audience who've not been in the military or been involved in that type of activity just assume that military contractors, specifically the ones that carry guns. So there's thousands and thousands of military contractors. There's people that are military contractors that never carry guns. They drive trucks, or they load crates onto boxes, or they cook, or they do IT or whatever. But they assume that these are just a bunch of like Call of Duty fanatics that were sitting on their couch one day and they filled out an application and they got hired to be mercenaries for the government. Is that the case, Shane? Are all these guys just a bunch of wannabe yahoos, or where do military contractors come from?
Well, for one, they come from the military. In the early days of the wars, I guess that's what we're calling them. I call it one big war because it's all been the same to me. But in the early days, the threshold for getting a job was pretty extensive. There was a lot of guys retired from the Army with 20 plus years, and a lot of guys from the special operations community, SF, recon Marines, Scout Snipers, and stuff like that. There was a lot of talent out there, and as things drug on and companies changed and pay changed, a lot of all that talent, or they're soldiers. To answer your question, a lot of them with various degrees of experience. On average, I'd say, your average contractor probably has 6 to 10 years in. With other projects that are out there that require, 6 to 10 years active, or 6 to 10 years in the military. And then, like the program I was on, it required a minimum of 6 years in SOF. And so, you have trained professional soldiers that, came out of there. There's other beginning contracts, with lack of a better term to describe it, kind of, a lot of guys over the past 10 years or so started off their careers in military contracting, working for, State Department and other things like that, and then moved on to other things. But the core of, to answer your question, they all came from the military.
Yeah,
actually,
well, that's
trained soldiers.
That I want to make sure that we establish from the base is there's just this psychotic narrative that's pushed forward by the left wing media that military contractors are all a bunch of wannabe baby killer, rednecks who couldn't get a job, and they're like, I'll go be a mercenary, and the government just is like funneling money to these mercenaries. These are highly trained individuals, and I don't think I'm busting any like super State Department secrets here and saying that many contracts, depending on where it is, because there's contracts all over the world, but many of them require some type of clearance. Correct?
Correct.
And you don't just don't give a secret or a TS clearance to a wannabe mercenary Call of Duty guy. That's not. It doesn't. Even in today's world, there are still some intelligent humans. Not a lot, but there are some in the government, and they don't just hand out secret clearances like candy on Halloween. So this whole narrative that everybody in the military contractor is either a washed-up soldier, somebody who he couldn't hack it in the real military, and he went and became a mercenary. No, actually, it's kind of the opposite. The people that do extended contracting, especially when they do it for decades, like you have, got to have some serious intelligence and they're self-starters. I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people miss out on is they assume that they're just like these robot-type people. And when you're working on a contract, it's not like being in the military. In the military, the regular conventional military, you have one job, and then there's support staff to do everything else. But when you're on a team, a small team, you kind of have to be a master of all or a jack of all trades. Is that not the case there, Shane?
Yeah. That's definitely a great description of it. You gotta, whether you know it or not. Yeah, you know, a typical job with us. You'd show up on a team, and they did a good job in that movie 13 Hours of kind of expressing and showing, guys coming in and gravitating towards a specific job on a team. I'm not a comms guy, but I learned to be. I used the rudimentary skills that I had, and then I became, steeped in the kind of communications equipment that we had. Because some trips I may come in, hey, Ivy, you're the comms guy. So now I have to learn the radios we're using and how to fill them and how to program them, and how to troubleshoot them and things like that. Then there's other times, hey, you're in charge of the vehicles. Well, hell, I'm not a mechanic. I barely know what to do with that. So it helps. You learn a lot of other skills. You're doing a lot of other things. Hell, you're the medic right now. We don't have anything. You've been through, live tissue training more than anybody here. So that qualifies you. So, as a professional, you take those skills that you learned in the military and you continue to hone them, because you have guys depending on you to do a job that you may not be specifically trained in, but that's your billet, and you better be good at it, because you're probably there's a good chance that you're going to have to use those skills in one form or another.
And you can't just say, well, we'll just wait until support staff comes and fixes this, or we'll just we'll just do downtime until the battalion figures out who's in charge. Not at all. Not at all. The job has to get done. Somebody has to do it.
There's no spin up time. You get on the ground, you're expected to do the job. When you hit the ground, you might get a good night's sleep, but the next day you're expected to be in the team room, getting ready for missions and doing whatever you have to support whatever job you're doing. And there's several of them. So you gotta conduct the operations, and then you gotta conduct your own support to make sure that you're mission capable.
Well, and the what you said, sometimes you need to be ready the moment you go wheels down. You have to be ready. There's none of this, well, we've got some workup time. I watched 13 Hours. We're going to get into it in detail, but when they're like in the one scene where he picks them up from the airport, and they get contact essentially on the way from the airport, and I was working with two guys who didn't know each other, or who had worked with each other over in Afghanistan or Iraq. It was Iraq. Anyway, they came to the contract that I was on, and they're like, "Hey, there you are," and they're like, "Hey, there you are." And the one guy, Marty, he goes, "Yeah, Joe picked me up." He said, "We were on our way back from the airport." He said, "I'd been in country 3 hours, and we had contact. We had a vehicle try and come up and get in the convoy, and they ended up firing them up, and the vehicle detonated behind the convoy." He said, "Yeah, I had been wheels down for 3 hours." So in there, he's like, "Welcome to Iraq." So it is very true that you could literally wheels down, and before you even get your first meal, be in contact. Now, let me set this up for you guys. Shane has done things, and he's worked for this United States government, and he's done stuff that he's not allowed to talk about on the radio. And so I don't expect him to talk about those things on the radio, just because that's the way the world is. But when this all went down in Benghazi, and I heard about it, and I was disgusted, of course. The entire situation made me sick to my stomach. But when it was fresh, when it was brand new, when it was essentially just broke on the news, and that's when we were still going through the lies and propaganda of the one single protest at the consulate, and it was just a protest that got out of hand. That's all it was. And ironically, or I guess it was just fated to be, I had a layover in Dallas, and my flight got canceled. And so I called my bro Shane, and I said, "Hey, I'm stuck in Dallas for 24 hours. Can I bunk with you?" and you came and picked me up, and we sat on your back porch and we consumed adult beverages and smoked cigars. And that's when you said, I knew the two dudes, the two pipe hitter guys that got killed. And and I said, well, and what's crazy, if you remember that talk we had, and we hashed it out until the wee hours of the morning, and essentially we kind of came to the agreement that eventually the truth will come out, because this nonsense that they're spouting on CNN right now is all propaganda and horse crap.
Yeah.
And about how they were downplaying the agency involvement, and it was all this, it's just a YouTube video that enraged the masses, and things just got out of hand, and it wasn't deliberate, and it wasn't purposeful, and blah, blah, blah. But it was deliberate, and it was purposeful, and we finally got some answers, at least via Michael Bay in Hollywood. You went to see the movie. I went and saw it with the boys yesterday. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I hadn't worked in that. I want to caveat this. I hadn't worked in at that site. But there's some generalizations that can be drawn from it. I was in another country when that occurred at that time, and so we were getting spotty intelligence coming back through our channels, and and from what we heard, we could tell right away. That's BS. Mortars don't come into play in a spontaneous attack. Well, they
protest.
do. They had them available and everything, and it's like, no, there's a lot more to this. So it became pretty obvious to us, and all over the world, that what had occurred was not jiving with what the administration was putting out.
Now, had you worked without giving away, details that you're not allowed to, the two former SEALs that got killed, you had worked on the same contract with those guys or different?
Yeah. I never did any trips with Bub or Roan, but in passing and coming to and fro and other places, we'd met on occasion and here and there. Might have even gone to some training here and there with him and everything. So on that program, there's a lot of people. Hell, most of us, we don't even know what our real names are. So,
well, yeah, that's just something everybody uses their call signs in country.
Yeah. So, but I had a chance to meet them. There was a couple other guys that are portrayed in the movie that I met. One guy I actually did a trip with, and so it's all good.
So, well, who did you do? I think now all of the six, have they all retired? I think that's how they portrayed it. That they've all all retired from active contracting work. So who did you know, or who did you do a trip with?
Go ahead.
No, who did you know, and who were you on a contract with?
Well, we were on the same program, and I did a trip with TIG. It was on a big team and everything. We've been in a car together a couple times. So
okay, so it's not like you. I know I know that there's certain things you can't talk about. You're like, if I say I did this or I say I did that, then I can't work anymore, and I get that. And I know these guys, when they cooperated, when they cooperated with the book and the turning the book into the movie, the moment that they cooperated with them, that their working for the agency days were over.
That's probably I don't know all the details about what their interaction with a client or anybody was on that. I know they're done. They did a hard trip, and several factors could have come in.
Now I got a question. in the movie, they have the CIA annex, and they have all these CIA agent type people, right? You know, people that work directly for the CIA, portrayed as men and women and what have you. But why in the world would the Central Intelligence Agency need a bunch of guerrillas with guns hanging around when they're all like Jason Bourne trained? I mean, they take them out to the farm and they do 2 weeks of SEER school, and they're accomplished snipers, and they're all like James Bond on crack. So why do we need a bunch of guerrillas with M4 standing around?
Well, they're not. You know, you can go back to, you know, you can research this all you want. You know, during the 90s, the Clinton administration really kind of changed the landscape in the Central Intelligence Agency, and it took it from being a very human-heavy type of organization and turned it into, you know, a more analytical organization. And a lot of the hard skills, like you saw back in the 60s and, you know, 50s, 60s, and even up in the 70s and early part of the 80s, you know, there weren't a lot of people that were that possessed the hard skills like they used to. Their training pipeline changed quite a bit. And when this happened, they recognized, you know, a gap in their wire, so to speak. And, you know, guys like, you know, myself and Ron and Bub and everybody they brought us in, one, we're thinkers. We understood what was going on, and our job was to facilitate and to make sure that they remained safe while they did their job.
So essentially, ladies and gentlemen, I know this is going to hurt your chi and bust your worldview, but the CIA doesn't have James Bond type people that they drop off in the jungle with just their underwear and a knife, and they have to survive for 2 weeks anymore. They're essentially Harvard grad type, analytical, uber genius type people. And you know, people say, well, that's good and bad. Yeah, it is what it is. It's the way the world is today. And when Shane said humint, he was abbreviating the human intelligence for you listeners out there. Did he say humint? Yeah, he said human intelligence, direct intelligence. We've gotten so overwhelmed with our ability to gather information via the internet and electronically and so forth that we've forgotten or gotten away from the human element. Because one thing you can't get from a computer is context. You know, if you and I are having a conversation, I can get the feeling and the context from you and I speaking. I can't get that from just reading words or intercepting traffic. And that's something that we used to understand as a country, that you have to have people who talk to other people. But that costs a lot of money, and it's dangerous and so forth. And isn't it so much easier if we can just put up satellites and monitor people's email? I mean, isn't that the way we should do it? Well, give me... what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm going to throw Shane one more question, and I'm going to have him hash it out, and then we're going to continue, because we're already 34 minutes. We're going to continue the rest of this conversation during the grad program. But Shane, is there a takeaway that you got from there that is a good example of how men of this caliber behave under fire? I'm not going to answer the question for you, but I would bet that when you have men of this caliber, that this is not out of the ordinary, that this is standard operating procedure for them.
Yeah, you know, my hat's off to all those guys. They're true heroes and everything. You know, but you know, there's all kinds of stories. You know, I could tell you all kinds of different stories, and you know, that one had things gone differently. You know, it's fair to say that there are other incidences. There's been other guys like that been involved in attacks similar to that in different parts of the world that have comported themselves just as bravely. So I'm not taking anything away from it. But I guess what you're asking me, I'm extremely proud to be involved or have been involved with the caliber guys, like Roan and Bud and Tig and Tanto and all those other guys. But that's not an anomaly across the board. It's some of the finest guys I've ever been around and fought with on occasion. It is what it is, and I'm privileged and honored to have made the cut and demonstrated and had a long career doing that. And it's by no means a isolated incident. In this world, there are some real badasses. I'm not saying I'm one. I'll do what I have to do when I have to do it. But there's a lot of guys out there, and the vast majority, if not all the guys that were involved with that program, are some of the best guys on the planet, and they do a very complex, demanding, and job. It's not just focused around pulling a trigger in a gunfight. The daily grind of things and the balancing act that has to be done. You cannot be a thinker. You cannot be if you're not good at your job, you can't do that job that those guys did. I don't know if that really answers your question, but
no, it does. It kind of harkens back to Chester Nimitz's quote from 1945 when he was talking about the Marines in the Pacific, and he said, "Uncommon valor was a common virtue." And when it comes to these individuals, the thing that I really dislike about the way Hollywood often portrays them is that what they did, or they have this great lament afterwards, or I can't believe we were forced to do that, and it's so terrible, and don't we all feel bad, and don't we never want to do or see that again. And the fact is a lot of these guys for the last 12, 13, 15 years have not only been doing that, but they've been doing that multiple times, and they continue to do that because of love of country. And it's not something that is just like one strange occurrence, or it's something. It's what they do. It's their lives, and they make no apologies for it.
Yeah, that's fair to say. I mean, I make no apologies. I'm proud of what I did, and do I sleep? Does it bother me? No. Do I lose sleep over it? No. It's what you saw there was a bunch of guys that truly, not only do they embrace what the military and everybody likes to call the warrior ethos, they don't just embrace it; they are the warrior ethos.
They exemplify it.
That's what the kind of guys that I've been, privileged to be around for a huge majority of my career, and special forces and working, with the client and everybody. Just been. That's what it is. They're warriors. It's what we do. It's what we did. It's how we train. It's how we live. I make no apologies about it. No, and no one I know and I've worked with in the past will make apologies. It's what we do. It's hard on our families sometimes, but the point of the fact of the matter is that's who I am. It's not a joke. It's not a Hollywood cliche. We go there, we do our work. That's part of the work. That's part of the job description. And the only thing that gets you crushed is not holding up your weight for your brothers.
Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with the rest of the interview of Shane Iverson, Special Forces Team Sergeant, and the I guess you're the senior instructor at CSAT MTT.
Yeah, CSAT MTT. Yeah. Let me talk about that for just a second. Yeah. We work with Paul Howe, and how this came about is Paul really didn't want to get on the road anymore. So we are kind of filling that gap, and I've been working with him now for well over a year, and what we've done is he's kind of given me the ominous to go ahead and push out on the road and represent him and expand the CSAT tentacles, how I like to portray it. Push that out and and hit the road and continue to teach the CSAT methodology. And if you're interested in that, we've got courses coming up this month. One up in Wichita Falls this weekend. A couple here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area over the next couple of months. We're looking at pushing up into the Northwest of the United States. And some other places as well. And when those come to fruition, we'll put them on the website, and you'll see it. So hopefully we'll be coming to a town near you. If you want to host some training, contact us at www.CSAT-Charlie-Sierra-Alpha-Tango-Mike-Tango-Tango.com, CSATMTT.com. That's where you can reach us.
All right. Thank you very much, Shane Iverson.
If you guys want to hear the rest of this conversation tomorrow on the grad program, go to studentofthegunradio.com, click on Become a Member, and that will give you the details you need to become a member and hear tomorrow's grad program.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to the ready. 2012 brought about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to the ready. You don't believe me, just so deep into the soul.
All right, thank you, Madison Rising, for the Student of the Gun Homeroom intro. And Student of the Gun Homeroom, the special segment that we do every single Thursday, is brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, makers of the Super Tup Deluxe, also known as the Bruce Jenner Commemorative, and what we just discovered today, the E.J. Owens Commemorative Signature, not Commemorative, Signature Series. Yeah, there you go. Flashlights and other stuff is what my notes say. And this week there's been a lot of chitter-chatter on the internets and interwebs and so forth about flashlights and other stuff. Now, gun people and gun culture people love to talk about guns, and then they like to talk about ammo, and then they like to talk about things that go with them. And if you're paying close attention to the Student of the Gun universe, you know that we just released a series called The Complete Armed Citizen. And one of the areas that we highlight is that in order to be a complete armed citizen, you need more than just a gun and ammo. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the world, the new gun owners or recent gun carriers, they run out and they get a gun and they buy a matching holster and they go put 50 rounds through it and then they stick it in a holster and they cover it up and they're like, woohoo, whoopee, I'm an armed citizen, I'm good to go. I'm ready to solve all my problems. Every problem that I may ever encounter is going to be solved with this blaster. And that's not actually the case. And one of the things one of the problems that you're going to have to overcome is the fact that it's not always light out. And we talked about this just recently, but our buddy James Yeager and a couple other people have been on the interwebs chatting it up about flashlights. And so we thought, what the heck, we'll talk about flashlights and other stuff. Now, Jared wanted me to remind you guys, the point is this: you need to have one, and they're good, and you need to do a little bit of research. Buy whatever you want. I don't care. It's up to you. I know what I carry. I know what I've trusted for years. I've trusted Surefire products for, I don't know, a long, long time. There are other good flashlights out there, but I can tell you that I trust the Surefire products. My point is this: you need more than a gun, and that's why we did the Complete Armed Citizen Special Edition. Is it downloadable or streaming?
No, it's all of the videos. There's 7 videos, and then there might be some bonuses, maybe or maybe not. They're all on one page where you go, you get access, you purchase access to the page, and then they're in like an accordion thing where you can watch one video and then you click the next one. It's kind of like a little online
series.
course.
It's a video series.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you can go to. Actually, you can't get it anywhere because it's on sale right now. And after the sale, you'll be able to get it on studentofthegun.com. However,
the grad program people are already hip to it.
Yeah, they're already getting it right now. Some of them already have it. So if you want it while it's on sale, it's only on sale until the end of Friday at 11:59 p.m. Then I need you to email info@studentofthegun.com. That's the only way to get it on sale. So email info@studentofthegun. Let me know, and I will send you the link to the sale product.
Are you trying to like ever so subtly tell them that if they were already a grad program member, that they would have already had a discount access to that material? Is that what you're telling them? Actually,
if they were just signed up to studentofthegun.com, if you went there and signed up on the 7 training tips that could save your life, then you would have access too. So if you are subscribed to that, then go to your inbox and search for anything from info@studentofthegun.com, and you will see the link.
There you go. It pays to pay attention. How's that sound? All right, I know this week has been every episode this week has been a little longer than normal, and you're welcome. I guess that's all we need to say to you. For those of you that are in the public listening hour, we will talk to you on Monday. And for the rest of you, grad program members, we're going to continue on with our conversation with Shane Iverson, Special Forces Sergeant and Team Sergeant, and a senior firearms instructor for CSAT MTT. And we're going to do that tomorrow. Until then, remember this: you're a beginner once, a student for life. Did you want to give my homework assignment?
No, I already did that earlier, but I was going to say csatmtt.com is where you can go get training.
.com.
And I think Shane said that his microphone's not on right now, so he can't talk. But I'm pretty sure that Shane said that CSAT MTT is going to come to Mississippi. I don't know. We'll hash that out later.
Oh, okay.